everyone, this video discussion is about the educational philosophy of progressivism and its impact on reimagining depth in classrooms post-pandemic with learning by doing in blended modalities. Before the pandemic, there were normal classes. As you can see on the picture on the left, the students are not situated far from each other. In their F2F classes has no social distancing. But during the pandemic, there were do's and don'ts. There were lots of protocols being issued. We were asked to maintain a minimum of 6 feet physical distancing, and we have to wear a properly fitted mask to cover your mouth and your nose when you cough or sneeze. So to prevent the spread of the virus, we had to avoid spaces that are very close and crowded. And then there is a quarantine of 14 days to those suspected or affected by the virus. Only a few people can go out, of course with proper PPE. And if you stand in line, you fall in line on benches, you have to follow the 6 feet social distancing to continue giving quality education. DepEd implemented the online classes or face-to-face classes, but with proper physical distancing. So they're really situated very far from each other with blinds or protective covers. How is learning by doing and blended learning applicable in this kind of situation? First, to understand better, learning by doing involves acquiring knowledge and skills through direct experience and active engagement in tasks or activities rather than passively receiving information. So it means that learning by doing has the following key aspects. It has active engagement, practical application, hands-on experience, reflection, and analysis. Looking at these example pictures, this is how a learning by doing in real life looks like. In science education, learning by doing means doing the experiment yourself. There are other examples. We have math, where the student is really playing with the blocks with numbers, and in Filipino, they engage in role play. And we also have other examples like social studies and values education, where the students are really immersed in the community. Next, how do we apply learning by doing in a blended learning classroom? So let's define first what blended learning is. It is a teaching method that combines in-person instruction with web-enhanced learning. During the transition process from traditional to blended learning, there are steps being followed from initial phase to redesigning the curriculum and then setting it up and then having pilot programs and full implementation. So because of this sudden change, the teachers and students experience challenges, because unlike from a chalk and board traditional type of teaching, the students are now using digital tools. Of Soperano, Heman, and Badaras in 2022, among the common problems of teachers in the implementation of blended learning, teachers having a hard time expressing instructional content to his or her learners scored the highest. And if you look at the POV of the learner, the topmost problem of learners during blended learning is the difficulty in understanding the topic or competencies, scoring at 4.36 rather. And still on the second spot, we have poor internet connection. So basically, both teacher and learners had difficulty in expressing themselves and understanding the topic with the use of digital tools and online teaching style. Maybe also because of poor internet connection. DepEd was able to give solutions to these problems through improved instructional design. Teachers must be fully trained. And of course, with regards to slow internet connection, they've collaborated with the private sector and some NGOs to provide affordable devices and network connection. Of course, with the learner's understanding, that's where learning by doing activities be applied. So for example, for science education, virtual laboratories and giving problem-solving activities would really help them understand the topic better. Based on the aforementioned types of blended learning and the examples of learning by doing activities, the takeaways for this discussion are: number one, blended learning with learning by doing or progressive type of education serves as a sustainable, engaging post-pandemic model for DepEd. A progressive type of education applied to blended learning modality in post-pandemic DepEd classrooms empowers learners to be active participants and develop critical skills for the 21st century. And also, blended classroom models requires coordinated efforts in training, infrastructure, and curriculum design. And lastly, it offers flexibility, equity, and improved satisfaction over traditional methods. That's all. Thank you.